The Ankara train station was first built in 1891 as a two-story building by the Germans. Train journeys that lasted about a day at the time were exhausting for people, and when Ankara became the capital in 1923, it was no longer able to accommodate the increased passenger traffic, and a new building was needed. Due to this demand, in 1923, they began the new project's preparations. The job of project development was assigned to Şekip Sabri Akalın, one of the Ministry of Public Works' young architects. Akalın first prepared the rough project and went to Europe to get inspiration from the new train stations that were being built at the time. This helped the young architect to design the station according to modern principles. According to some critics, the end project was similar to Stuttgart's train station, but there is no indication that Akalın used this train station as an inspiration point. Besides, the modern buildings in the 1930s looked very much alike. When Akalın returned to Ankara, he developed a new project that was also led by the Ministry of Public Works. They assigned Abdurrahman Naci Demir'a to lead the construction part, and Alaaddin Arslan, the deputy chief of the State Railways Road Department, supervised the project. The construction processes for the new station building began in November 1934, and after the earth excavation works on August 10, 1935, and the groundbreaking ceremony on the 3rd of November 1935, the new station was finally finished on September 2, 1937. Ankara Station opened its doors to the public on October 30, 1937, and as a result of all the efforts, it became one of the most modern stations of the time. Ankara had established a setting that aimed for a high society, focused on contemporary living standards rather than conventional ones. Along the axis of the railroad terminal is a chain of buildings located at Istasyon Street, which includes socio-cultural living areas such as Ankara Palace Hotel, Gençlik Park Stadium, and Hippodrome. It marks the southwestern end of a significant cultural axis. Moreover, it exemplifies the kind of one-sided station systems seen along the line constructing a circumference. Ankara Castle, the city's first point, is situated on the opposite end of this axis. The axis presence is very significant in terms of its reflecting the socio-cultural life envisaged for modernization. And Railroad Terminal, which holds one end of this cultural axis, has retained its existence as an important stop in Ankara, which is the symbol of modernization. The station casino is one of the most important structures of the station complex. There were station casinos in most of the Republican period stations, and has been a rare entertainment place where men and women can go together, where they can have a drink under conditions of the modern day. The construction of the building was decided in order to provide the hygiene, resting, and catering needs of those who will visit the capital for business and sightseeing, as well as to give the people of the city a nice meeting place. In the TCDD, Açık Hava Buharlı Lokomotif Müzesi, the steam locomotives used can be seen closely, and people can get detailed information about their technical features. It is an important museum in terms of the railway industry, and is visited extensively by lots of people every year. Additionally, the Demiryolları Müzesi was the first building that Atatürk had planned during the process of the Independence War. While the railway line spread throughout the country between 1923 to 1950, railway stations became a mean of natural integration. Stations became places that have the function of strengthening the economic, political, and cultural ties between the center and the other provinces. The railway stations of the Republic are not only structures that establish the link between the train and the passenger, but also the public sphere, where the transfer of the city identity drawn from Ankara takes place. For the Republican modernization in parallel with urban development, there are three factors important in creating the space of the nation-state. The first is that Ankara, away from external influences, was chosen as the capital instead of Istanbul, which hosted various nations and witnessed westernization in the capital of the empire. The second is the creation of a railway network centered in Ankara, which provided the integration of the domestic market and became the representative of the state in other provinces. Third, the factories established by the state are located in Anatolian cities on the railway line. The capital, Ankara, has gained the identity of the Republic city, and buildings such as the Atatürk Monument, Ceremony Square, Government Mansion have provided a spatial and emotional identification with Ankara. Equality of men and women in the station is an indicator of secularization. The public space formed around the mosque in the city was replaced by stations and restaurants that developed around it. The restaurants, the tea and coffee shops, opened around the station, caused it to become denser and a center of the settlement. Station buildings, which had become an attraction center for people, spread the modern building concept throughout the country. The railway has also fulfilled the function of dissolving the traditional structure by providing mobility to the population. Subsistence economies started to produce for other markets and to meet the needs of local people. The railway station has played an important role in bringing the people in the state together, as well as in the integration of rural areas and centers. State administrators use of railways, holding ceremonies attended by the public stations. The decoration of station buildings on national holidays reflect the railway state identification. For the architecture, the terminal complex is a symmetrical layout with its long mass along the main railroad, which describes a one-sided train station concept. In terms of the structure, the building has a reinforced concrete skeleton-based structure with 40 concrete piles for the foundation. The order and the pattern of these reinforced and circular section columns on the long and front facade reflect the monumental style of the neoclassical approach of the 1930s. The building is covered with Ankara stone, which is a type of andesite, and it is an in situ source for Ankara. Additionally, Hereke stone is used for the 10-meter long columns in front of the building, as well as the horizontal band above them. Marble covers the staircase at the entry, the floor of the middle hall, and the lower portions of the walls. With hundreds of workers, the building was constructed in 3 years. In terms of style and the interior design, Şekip followed the Art Deco style, which can be accepted as the extension from the Art Nouveau style to the modernist movements. This style is based on the new materials and their industrial production instead of handmade products. Moreover, there are a lot of vertical windows on the long horizontal bands which can be adapt the curves of the buildings, and this was one of the characteristics of the era. With its two towers, the building has a big and empty entrance that was planned to be decorated with the paintings, and these paintings had special themes such as the Independence War. At first, the competitions were planned in order to choose the paintings for these enormous empty walls. However, it was not implemented because of some social and political issues. The simplicity and the abstraction of the building, with its less is more motto, make a good example of the style Art Deco. The use of the wall paintings and the logos around the glasswork reflect quite well the Art Deco furnishing style in the interior as well. As a result, Ankara train station, which has served as the capital of the Republic's entrance gate for many years and gives tourists their first views of the high-level standards of modern architecture and planning that comprise the area, retains its significance in terms of our contemporary architectural heritage.